Yo, so today's Doraemon's birthday, so that's a W, so happy birthday to Doraemon. So if you're watching this, which you're just fake, you know, you're a bit of a fat fake, but overall you're cute, you're friendly, you have to stay with a brat. Either way, celebrate this. 2 Noby Can Get Nobody episodes on your way, so let's do it. Doraemon is helping Noby skate. Would be innocent when you realise that he's skating in the house. He crashes into Doraemon, nearly get each other killed. What a bitch. Noby's mum disciplines Doraemon and Noby, even though Doraemon barely did anything. Doraemon, you poor bastard. They try skating outside, but Noby almost gets what he deserves. About time something good happens. Truck driver, aka the crash out, ends up calling Doraemon and Noby a kid. Would be stupid when you realise that Doraemon's not a kid, he's a cat. Overall, he is a kid. He's 10. Still, that doesn't bypass anything. Should be crashing out on Mr. Yellow Kid, aka Noby the dumbass. Sneak decides to come over and tell them that it's time to go to the park, which would be nice until you realise that it's closed. Everyone feels ashamed when you realise that Noby's pissed right off and decides to take a beating to Doraemon.
I hate you, little bitch. Yeah, why? You big fat bitch.
That kid explained it all. Not you, Noby. You don't deserve a life. You don't deserve a living. You can just go to hell. LBB, Thomas Daly, etc. You know. Someone thinks it's a good idea to give Noby a gadget. Stupid idea when you realise it's just photos. Noby thinks it's a bad idea to pour hot water onto it, which is a bad thing when you realise the house goddamn grows. What the hell? Doraemon decides to go into that goddamn tunnel and ends up shrinking himself. I wish he can get himself back to size. Now he decides to take a picture of everything he can find in the whole city and ends up trying to start arson, which is obviously your normal arson move. Noby decides to get all his not-so-called friends, decides to shrink them. Bad job, mate. What the hell? It's more stupid when you have this random kid who never appeared in any more episodes, just this one, and a fatso queso. Everyone ends up snapping their fingers, which is kind of stupid, while they have this music on. Yeah. The Noby City, yep, that's its name, decides to let everyone have fun and play. Noby is finally happy because he gets to finally read his goddamn fucking comics. Which is not that nice when you think about it. Everything starts shaking when you realise it's an Everyone starts running for their goddamn fucking lives like there's some sort of tsunami. They do the classic cartoon move by hiding behind a house, which is dumb. His mum's so angry that she loses her glasses colour. He is back to his depression era after he realises his city is gone and forces Doraemon to make the city again. His mum starts crashing out and everyone escapes except for Doraemon, who gets literally dumped. Why is it always you, lad? You poor bastard. Let's summarise. We tried to find everything he could to play, which ended in the last resort of him hitting Doraemon. He was given some gadgets to make his own city. Noby ends up shrinking everyone, including a random stranger and a fatty queso. Things got stupid when his Noby's mum starts destroying it completely. Everything, of course, gets dumped on Doraemon. But if you thought that was bad, wait until you see this. The episode kicks off with Noby wanting. My brother was interrupting me, so let me try that again. The episode kicks off with Noby wanting to dream that he could be a horse rider, which would be good until you realise what he's about to do. Everyone starts teasing Noby that they have something, but not him, which I don't know if they're saying because my English subtitles won't even work. Noby is at the edge of lashing out and decides to use Doraemon as a horse, which ain't gonna last for 5 minutes. He forces Doraemon to get on his his fours, and ends up kicking Doraemon in the absolute A-word. Noby ends up trying to choke him when he realised that he can just get pulled off. That's a W. That's a huge W. I feel bad for you, lad. Noby decides to tell Doraemon that he wants to ride a horse, which would have been good until he realised that he's a brat for trying to kill his not-so-called BFF. Also, notice how sad he looks. Rip for you, bud. Noby says that if he rides a horse, he'll get impressed by the girls. And while he mentions it, he starts making a quirky face. I don't know if I said that twice. If I did, I'm sorry. Doraemon goes into his goddamn pocket and decides to give him the same thing that Noby was using. Literally. Doraemon then decides to use a cat as an example, which is goddamn not funny. Doraemon ends up hypnotizing the cat and makes it think it's a goddamn horse. The bratty Noby decides to ride on it like it's some kind of joke. The silly-ass cat decides to go on the tree and tries to kill Noby. Good kitty, good kitty. Noby looks like he's broken a bone, but when you realise that he still survived. He whines that he can't even do things right. No, it's not. Things go bad to worse when he decides to use a dog, which does he know he'll get attacked. And also, I thought Doraemon hated dogs, for example. Maybe he does like dogs, or maybe I'm done. The world may never know. Useless animal starts losing his mind and tries to kill Noby in the process. That's the only dog I like now. Congratulations, you're officially my second favourite character of this show. The good boy dog decides to kick Noby in with his hind legs and ends up trying to kill him in the process. Which surprises me because there was a high fall and he's not even dead yet. He could have even broken a bone, you know. He comes back and he looks a bit blue. Well, that's crazy. I bet that reminds me of, oh no, blue. Sorry. Doraemon decides to use another dog again, but the dog ain't having it. Stu catches Noby and Doraemon in the act. It's unforgettable when they see Big G and Sneech again. Fuck's sake. Stu gets overwhelmed too impressed. Ew, gross. Also, why is this crazy for a kid's show? The dog finally lets Stu go on his back, which then results in Noby starting to whine like a little fat brat. He ate a rhyme. Noby says that he wants to ride on Doraemon's back, but Doraemon says that he wants to lash out. Noby finally gets his chance and ends up trying to make Doraemon look like he's some sort of coward. You poor bastard. Let's review. Noby spent the whole entire episode trying to get a horse. He used Doraemon's gadgets to make sure he was the best cowboy ever. Unfortunately, it's not. When he tried to use a dog, the dog lost control and ended up nearly killing Noby in the process. And even after they found Big G and Sneech with their own goddamn cowboys, which are not so-called cowboys, Noby started whining like a little brat. Finally, and Doraemon gets what he does not deserve. Sad because Noby does deserve it. So, happy birthday Doraemon and Noby can get nobody.